Okay, we should be good. We'll be done by about the time all craziness breaks loose at our house.
Okay.
The 5 cheerleaders down here. Hey everybody, happy what night is it? That's Wednesday. I can't remember because it's that week before Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows. I hope you're doing well. We're here with Carol. She's down in Florida talking about how cold it was this past week. And it was cold. I was just making fun of her because it was colder in St. Louis, but it was cold down there. It was cold everywhere.
For
Except
Florida, it was
yeah.
cold.
Oh yeah, because they even showed on our news the iguanas falling out of the trees and like
Yes.
laying in the middle of the street and saying, "Don't pick them up and take them inside your house." I thought
Yes.
that was hilarious. I'm like, for one, who's gonna pick? I mean, the one they showed on the news was mean looking. I mean, it was big. It had spiky, things on its back. If you carry that thing into your house, like, I mean, dude, you get what's coming to you. That thing
Yeah,
looks
that's a lot farther
crazy.
south than I am, but yes,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm not touching any iguana that I see. So, all right. So we're going to talk about Carol's trip to Animal Kingdom Lodge last spring and have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm getting the hate here from the Kansas fans on Twitter. I should probably close that because I had a mean tweet during dinner. Okay. So, episode 2219. Make sure the levels are good. We're good there. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2219 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're doing well. And a special shout out to all the Be Our Guest Podcast lizards. Of course, we're recording this one a little bit early, but I hope that today finds you relaxing, taking it easy. This is the day that you have earned. I know you're probably a little sore. I bet you have a couple of blisters here and there. Maybe Body Glide is your friend, but hopefully you have the sound of clanking metals somewhere with you as you're on an airplane, maybe in your car headed back from Florida. Maybe you're smart and you're going to stay down at Walt Disney World for a couple of more days and just soak it all in and enjoy the experience. But either way, I'm super proud of you. If you got to the starting corral, that's more than most. You did a great job. If you finished the races, that is amazing. Just getting out there, though, and being a part of this team is a remarkable, remarkable thing. So, of course, we're recording this before marathon weekend, but I'm just super proud to be a part of this team with the most amazing, encouraging teammates of all time. And we'll have many, many stories to share in the week or two to come because Scott and I are going to do a couple shows and we're going to try to record a show as we're down there, hopefully for this coming Friday. We'll see how that goes because we're going to try to do some man on the scene reporting, but we get caught up and all of a sudden we're on the plane flying home like, we didn't do any recording, but we're going to try to. So we'll see what happens for this Friday show. But we're here on a Monday because we do trip reports and that's what we're going to do today. And speaking of Florida, that's where we're headed today to speak with my friend. We just got to actually meet and talk tonight, but we've been talking via email for years. Carol, thanks for coming on the show. Happy New Year to you.
Well, Happy New Year. Thanks, Mike. I'm very excited.
So I'm glad to have you on the show. Now, they say everybody from Florida is from somewhere else. So you're not a native Floridian. You've made yourself from another part of the country, correct?
Yes, I am originally from Rhode Island. So I'm a New England girl.
So have you acclimated down there or how's that? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of Northeasterners down in Florida.
Well, I will tell you, I've been here longer than I lived there. Now the Florida girl hated this cold weather. Now the New England girl loved it. So there's a push and pull there, but no, it was pretty cold here for Florida.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. This is what I love about Floridians being somebody from the Midwest that, I saw, they did a thing as they wrapped up 2022 here on our news the other night. It showed the extremes of St. Louis, right? Our lowest temperature in 2022 was -6. So we got this air temperature. We got down to -6 in that real cold snap right before Christmas or right around Christmas time. And then our hottest day in July was 111. And
Oh,
so we have like the big extremes being, dead in the center of the country. But what I love is like this time of the year when it gets a little cold. Now, this was extreme, right? For Florida, this is extreme for everywhere, especially like Buffalo,
yeah.
all those places. But I love when it gets like in the 40s or 50s in Orlando and people have on, like Columbia, puffy coats and, they look like football players playing in, the Ice Bowl in Green Bay or something. that just makes my Midwestern heart happy. Like, I'm just like, well, it's kind of cold, but you've adjusted. I mean, you're a hardy New Englander still, even though you're born into it. You're gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me tell you, let me ask you about your Disney history. So what's your backstory when it comes to what brings you to Disney other than you're a Floridian? Because I think, by just where you are, you have to somewhat be a Disney fan.
Yeah, growing up, I had a family member that would go every summer. And, it was always, oh, next summer we'll take you. Well, next summer we'll take you. Well, that never happened. So my husband and I got married and we moved to Florida. We moved to Florida. We got married in April, moved to Florida Memorial Day weekend, and my father in law paid for our trip. My first trip was July 5th, 1988. Um, it was. It was as magical as I would have ever hoped it to be. And we have gone at least 3 trips per year since,
Wow.
at
So
least.
let me ask you about that trip in the 80s, because I mean, first
Hmm.
trips are so special. Do you remember anything from that trip that like doesn't exist anymore? Is there anything that stuck with you that like this place is so different or this place is so amazing? Was there a restaurant, a ride, just a feeling from a particular part in a resort or a theme park? What do you recall from that trip?
I just remember the castle. It was just amazing. I come from a very small town. We didn't have theme parks. And so now, you know, that's when the characters kind of roamed a little bit. And I just remember seeing Goofy. Now, my husband will tell you the story that I ran and I was throwing children out of my way. That did not happen.
Good
But I
story
will
though.
tell you,
That's what husbands are for, right? You got to embellish. You got to make the story
yeah.
better. And that's a great story.
Um, but yeah, so Goofy will always have a special place for me because he was the first character I ever met. But yeah, so it was just that. It was just being there and the anticipation for from my whole childhood. And then here I am. I'm really here.
Right, right. I mean, because for me, like I've told the story about how I went down like in fifth grade, 'cause we are just down there for spring training, passing through. We went for half a day. But I
Hmm.
remember the first time I went down as an adult with some friends that were visiting her grandma who lived in Titusville. So we went over to the Magic Kingdom for the day. And this was when the cake castle was on. So
Oh yeah, I remember the
75th
Cake Castle.
anniversary. And I mean, I knew nothing about Disney. And I think it's hard for some people to realize what a different world we lived in back then, because you didn't have like the instant access to the parks. Like right now, I can open Twitter, Instagram, whatever kind of social media,
Yes.
Facebook, and see exactly what's happening on live pictures, like within the last 5 minutes, and see exactly what it looks like. I walked into the Magic Kingdom and this castle, that I've seen, of course you see it before a movie, and all that kind of stuff. It's a big pink birthday cake looking like Pepto Bismol, but I thought it was magical, right? Because I mean, it was a
Right,
magical
right.
place. There was no debate on that really at that time. It was just, oh, that's Disney. They did something super cool. They made the castle look like a cake. It was awesome. And I just remember that. But I mean, there wasn't an uproar because I mean, the closest you got was going to the library back then and getting a book that was like maybe 9 months old. And that was new, that was like
Right.
the latest and
Right.
greatest. So it is kind of funny how the world changed. Anyway, let's get into your trip. So we're gonna talk about a trip you guys took last spring, which is great because hey, we've turned the corner. It's January. Before we know it, it'll be spring training. The
I know.
Rays are gonna be having spring. Hey, we're gonna have baseball at Walt Disney World this spring, which I'm super excited about. The Rays are going to be there. So let's talk about it. How did this trip come together last April? Tell us about this. Because you celebrate your anniversary, I think.
It was our 34th anniversary. And I I will tell you, I know all of your trip reports start this way, but it was a reschedule of a COVID trip.
There we
So
go.
we were
Got to give you the
supposed,
bell because that's every trip over the last
yeah.
year.
So we were supposed to go April 2020. And we're Pop Century people normally, but for our anniversary, we usually try to stay somewhere nicer. And we were going to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, but of course, COVID happened. So we rescheduled for this last April. Um, and it was, we had stayed there once before, but not in a Savannah room. And I will tell you about that. So when we get there pretty early. We're from Florida. We get there about 10 a.m. And I went to the front desk and I said, "Hey, do you have a room ready?" And she said, No, your room's not ready, and you are going to want to wait." So we were like, "Okay." We had lunch reservations at Sanaa anyway, so we went over to Sanaa. I get the text that my room's ready, and we were dead set center Savannah View room. It was the best room I could have ever hoped for. Something tells me you might have had something to do with that. I'm not sure, but
I,
um,
I can't give out my secrets. I can't. I cannot. All I can say is that every guest at the Magic for Less that I work with is a VIP. That's all I got to say because you are a very, very important person.
and I appreciate that. It was amazing. You go out to the balcony and there was a giraffe right there. Later on in the trip, there was something else amazing that happened, but we'll get to that.
Now, see, everybody that goes to Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can expect Savannah. I can't do this for everybody,
Oh,
so don't come
yeah,
at me. I'm just saying it happens every once in a while. It's like fishing, right? I mean, every once in a while you land a catfish or a big old, bass. I'm not a fisherman. It's a terrible analogy for me. But
yeah,
you throw your line in every once in a while, you'll get it, but you'll never catch it unless you throw the line in. You know what I'm saying? So you got to butter
right.
people up sometimes. Okay, so you get there, you get the upgrade, Savannah View. Isn't
Mm,
that amazing though? I mean, because
It,
I've stayed there and there was one time we had like a pool view room. We got upgraded to a Savannah view, just a 2 night stay. I think we're there like years ago for the Tower of Terror race weekend with Mallory and Pam were there with me. And
mhm,
I mean, we just couldn't stop looking at the animals. We have a nice zoo in St. Louis, but it's amazing to be able to sit there and they give you that little guide to identify the animals and kind of tick off, okay, we found this, we saw the warthogs, we saw the giraffes, we saw the
right,
wildebeest. It was, I mean, it's truly, you can't find a resort like this anywhere, Walt Disney World or otherwise. It's
right,
truly,
right.
you don't want to go to the parks almost.
Yeah, yeah, you feel like you're not at the parks actually. And
Yeah.
that was one of the things. We are getting a little bit up there in age, older than we were. So we like to take a more relaxed vacation now. So, Animal Kingdom Lodge was perfect for that. We spent a lot of time there. We really didn't even go into the parks until later in the afternoon. Just because we wanted to enjoy the room, the resort, and the food. The food is amazing there.
Absolutely. So just speaking of food, what'd you guys think of Sanaa? Because you got to walk from the lodge over to Kidani Village. Not a far walk at all. You can take a little van if you want, but how was Sanaa?
Oh, it was excellent. We had the bread service. And
So
then the three salads. I don't know. It was a beet salad. It was the food there is just amazing. And again, they knew it was our anniversary, so they sat us at the window. So we got to see more animals. And then they brought us out a happy anniversary dessert and a couple of glasses of champagne. So it was the perfect way to start the trip.
you guys are rolling like your first few hours. It's
I
just
know it was.
upgrade, nice dessert, some champagne. I mean, yeah, this is
Yeah.
how it gets going. So, yeah, I see why you wouldn't want to leave. Like, hey, Animal Kingdom Lodge just has it going on. Like they want to
Oh, it
celebrate with us.
absolutely
I
does.
can't leave anyway. But you did leave. You went to Hollywood Studios. So I want to hear about kind of what you did over there. I know you enjoyed a Wookiee cookie, which is always a good. Those things are so good. Right now, though, I hate to say this, 'cause I love cookies, but I'm almost cookied out because I've had so many
Oh
Christmas
yeah.
cookies. We're on the very tail end of Christmas cookie season, but they're still hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
But I got to get rid of those. But one of the things you mentioned in the notes, which I can't agree more, is that Hollywood Studios is amazing at night.
Oh.
It is. It's got the neon, it's got the
Mhm.
music sounds better at night, just the atmospheric loops. So talk to us about your time over at the studios after you had this amazing meal, checked in at the lodge and all that.
Yeah, so we went over to Hollywood Studios and Galaxy's Edge for us is just, um that's where we love to be when we're there. I mean, we love Toy Story and we love all the other places too, but and so I had surprised my husband. We got a reservation for Savi's.
Nice.
So yep, so we've already built a couple of droids, but I was like, no, he needs a lightsaber. So we did that, and that experience, I know you want to do it.
Yeah,
and
still,
and
yeah.
Mike,
You know what? It's never going to get cheaper. I need to just go ahead and do it because
no,
it goes up every year. So I just need to bite the bullet and do it. Come
yeah,
on, Mike.
yeah, and
I
now
have,
that you have
I
your
have a
room,
spot on the wall. I can
absolutely.
hang it exactly. Now I have a spot. I know.
Absolutely. Yes. No, I highly recommend it. And the experience alone, even if I didn't get the lightsaber, it would have been worth the cost. The
Wow.
just the whole show was worth it. But another thing that we did is the last time we were there, we built a droid, but we really didn't have a lot of time to play with it. So we brought it with us this time. And there's that little place right outside Droid Depot where you can play. We were probably playing with our droid for a half hour, and then more and more people were coming, and more and more people were coming, and then little kids were coming, and they were playing with their droids. I will always treasure that moment. It was amazing.
Here's what I like about that because I've never built a droid either, but you can go in and watch people
Uh-huh.
build their droid. So I like to do that because a lot of the times I am down there solo for like a media thing or a race, and I'll have, it's weird how you'll entertain yourself when you're on a solo trip because you don't have, family hanging out if Scott's not there or somebody. And
Right.
and I've gone in there and watched, and I just get a kick out of, because like there's not a big difference between like a 7-year-old boy and like a 57-year-old guy. The excitement, the level is the same for like most, and a
Yeah.
33-year-old woman. Like they don't care. Like it's like I'm living my Star Wars fantasy right now. But you're right though. I mean, that little play area right outside of that store there, it's cool to see because it's almost like a kid or even an adult on Christmas morning. Like I
Mhm.
got my new toy. Here I'm gonna go play with it because this is my spot where I can play with it. But it's also fun just as a guest to see the joy from the people that are experiencing that. And I think Walt Disney World's like that as a whole. Like, I like to see, dads and daughters walking down Main Street, and I like to
I know.
see moms and sons riding Space Mountain together. And that was so fun. I think if you open your eyes to that, you'll see it everywhere. But that's a good spot to see it. I mean, in a very concrete matter.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we sold a couple of droids that day.
I should have got a commission. Exactly.
I should have gotten maybe some commission out of that, but
Yeah, totally. At least a little discount. Hey, about 25% off of an extra because we
right.
got a couple. So, okay, let me ask you. So, one of the things you said you got Cat Sarah's popcorn and green milk, which I'm guessing the pop is that mixed popcorn that's in the
Yeah.
market over there. Okay, because I've never
Yeah.
had that, but I've seen.
Yeah, Katsaka's, yes, it's a variety, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's delicious. I have to have it every time I go to Galaxy's Edge. And then the green milk, the blue milk's okay, but the green milk tastes like Fruity Pebbles to me, and I love it.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. See, I'm always drawn to the Ronto wrap. I'm just blinded by, it's like the Death Star pulling in the Millennium Falcon. Like as soon as I'm in Galaxy's Edge, like I'm caught in the tractor beam and it's pulling me in, and I got to get my either breakfast or regular Ronto wrap. So good.
Yeah, it probably wasn't in my notes, but I'm sure we got one that day. We
Please
we
tell me you did.
usually do.
Yes, it's a great break. If you're hustling like in there very first thing in the morning, it's very portable. Like you could eat it while you're waiting in line for
Yeah.
Smuggler's Run or whatever. Well, back in the day, Smuggler's Run had a long line. It probably doesn't as much anymore. But
Yeah, it wasn't
anyway,
bad.
so okay, so let's talk about some of the other stuff you did. I love you guys. It looks like you did Frozen Sing Along. One of the most underrated experiences anywhere on property, in my opinion. Nobody talks about it. I love it every time I go, and I'm almost a 50-year-old guy.
Yeah. I did it a couple of times. I had a couple of solo trips and did it by myself, but this was the first time that Jeff experienced it. And he might have been singing along, might have been laughing,
Oh yeah,
you might have been having a good time. Yeah, the actors are amazing. And it's just if you're looking for a place to sit down, it's the perfect place. Nice air
it is.
conditioning, get a nice show.
And again, it's one of those things like you see the little 3-year-old kids getting into it because they love
Yeah.
Frozen. They've been watching it at home, probably on Disney Plus, where it just continuously loops. But there's a little snippets of almost current events or stuff for the older crowd that you'll get, just a little satire in there, dad
Right.
jokes here and there. That's what makes it so great. And then you got the bubbles and the big number at the end. It's got it all. Like that's really Disney theme park entertainment at its best. It's like Streetmosphere, but it's in a theater. I do like that. I'm glad they still have it. Now, kind of on the opposite end, Cars Racing Academy, which I don't think anybody has ever gone to. It took me forever to go to this because, I mean, they could not hide this experience more. I was like,
Right.
where is
Yes.
it? It's behind the Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster. Like, what? Like, I mean, I'd been back there for a media event once in the same building where they put this thing in, and
Hmm.
I still wasn't positive where this thing was because they backdoored us in that day. But it was kind of cool. I mean, I wouldn't write home about it, but I mean, if you have a Cars fan in your family, I think they'd like it.
Yeah, it was pretty busy that night at Hollywood Studios, so we didn't get Genie Plus or anything because we were only going to be there a few hours, and I knew I had the Savis, so we were looking for things that didn't have a long wait. But I'm telling you that animatronic, that's amazing, and
That is kind of
I
cool.
it really is. I think that if you haven't gone, you should, because it again, some air conditioning, and the show is really fun, and the kids love it.
The way I look at it is, you need to rest throughout the day, right? You need to sit
Right.
down, have sometimes it's a table service meal, whatever. But this, like you just nailed it. Sometimes you need to sit down, but why not see a show while you're getting some air conditioning and sitting down and relaxing? It's a fun
Right.
show. I mean, even if you're not a big Cars fan, it's entertainment. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's not definitely the Frozen sing along is 10 times better, in
Oh,
my opinion.
absolutely.
But, anyway. And you mentioned you had the buffalo chicken sandwich over at the ABC commissary and some fish tacos. Did it live up to the hype? I got it because I mean, we talked that sandwich up. I mean, I'm
Y
dreaming about it right now because I'm still not down there as we're recording. And that's one of my that and a pub sub. Pretty too. I mean, I'm more worried about those two things than my dopey metal at this point. So what'd you think?
Oh, well, you talk about it all the time. We were
I
walking
do.
by and I said to Jeff, Mike says this is the best. Let's go try it." Yeah, it was good. It was real good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fish tacos
Okay.
were good too, but no, that buffalo chicken sandwich, that will be on the must-do list because it was
Good.
delicious.
Okay, good. Because I don't want
And
to
I
steer
only
anybody
live
wrong, and I know it's not the same for everybody.
And I just
Yeah.
want you to know I live 5 minutes from a Publix, so I get pub subs all the time.
So lucky. I've only had one. We had one when Scott and I stopped at Publix last year before the marathon and we got groceries. We got like some goober and some buns and some waters and some, Coke Zeros and all that for the room for the,
Mhm.
for marathon weekend week. And then we turned to each other, we're like, everybody talks about those pub subs, man. We're here. We got to try them. So we stood in the parking lot because it was kind of all messy and he had a rental car. And he's like,
Yeah.
you can't, his wife said, Elizabeth was like, you guys cannot eat these in the rental because we'll get charged for the cleaning fee. So here we are standing outside the parking lot at the Publix, kind of by Disney World. I don't know what road it was on, but there were like big birds kind of hovering over us because we're dropping stuff on the ground. They're getting ready to swoop
Right.
down and get. Man, I'm just telling you what, you guys are for a grocery store sandwich. That thing was amazing. I mean, I can't wait to have another one. It was so good, and it was cheap. It wasn't that bad,
No,
compared
yo, and if they still have the holiday sub, make sure you get it.
oh, see, I had the chicken tenders, I think, but it was
Oh,
super good.
ooh, that one's good too, yes.
It was amazing. Now, let me ask you one other thing, then we'll move on to kind of the next day because you did something very
Yeah,
cool at the beginning of the next day, which we got to talk about. But so your husband has his lightsaber. What do
yes.
you do like in Galaxy's Edge the rest of the time? Because I'd imagine you want to take pictures. Maybe I see that you guys tried to go to Oga's. Did you go on any? Did you do Smuggler's Run or Rise or anything like that? Like, how did you kind of wrap up the whole experience now that you had visited Savis?
Yeah, so Savi's was at 8:45, so really the park was closed when we got out. Right as soon as you leave, everybody that has their lightsabers are now right there and they're turning them on and they're in and
Oh yeah.
but I was like, no, we need to get pictures in front of the Millennium Falcon. Like this is what we have to do. So we went right there. The pictures came out great. There was a photo pass photographer right there. Um, and then, we said, oh, we had the reservation for Oga's. Um, we didn't stay at Oga's. I thought end of night, it wouldn't be that bad. It was packed. It
Yeah.
was like we were standing at the bar, but you weren't really standing at the bar. It was so crazy. So we'll have to do Oga's again when it's not so busy.
I've only done it. It was right after it opened. I just happened to be walking through Galaxy's Edge, and it was right after Galaxy's Edge opened. Within a month. And
Hmm.
I was like, I'm never getting in this place, but I just wanted to walk past it and take a picture of like the outside.
Yeah.
And the cast member was at the door, and she's like, "You want to come in?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Yeah, there's room right now if you want to come in." It was like 9:45 in the morning, but I knew I had to order a drink. So here I
Yeah.
am by myself. I had to order a drink. So I had to order this tequila drink at it was like a Tuesday at like 9:45 in the morning. I'm getting like a fuzzy tauntaun or something because like all of a sudden
Oh
I'm
yeah.
in. But yeah, it's a cool little place. But you're right. I mean, it's it's small. Like when
It's
it's
yeah.
when it's full, it's full. But it's a
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, everybody should give it a shot. Though it's pretty neat.
Oh, it
Again,
is. Yeah.
also you mentioned like the lightsabers and everybody under the Millennium Falcon. I was also there because Mallory's cheer happened over May the 4th one year.
Oh yeah.
So Mallory and we were at the studios, and I'm like, I don't know what happens. I was like, something cool has to happen on May the 4th in Galaxy's Edge. I mean,
Yeah.
this just it has to. So I was like, we're going back there after we had dinner up on Sunset Boulevard. And we went back there, and I mean, there were so many people in Jedi robes with lightsabers. There were hundreds of people under the Millennium Falcon, all with their lightsabers. It was
Oh,
the craziest thing I ever saw. So if you ever, I'm just telling folks out there, if you ever get the chance to go to Galaxy's Edge on May the 4th, it is nuts. That's the craziest thing you'll ever see. It was great. I have video. I have to post a video this week. It was so
oh
much fun.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
I
man,
that
Star
was
Wars nerds unite, and I'm one of them. But I mean, I got to get a lightsaber. I just felt like left out. Like I was like, I'm gonna get killed in here. Everybody's got a lightsaber, but me. I can't defend myself. Okay, so you guys went back to the lodge.
yep.
Next morning, though, you guys get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, this isn't to book Genie Plus.
Nope.
This isn't to hit an ADR, even though there's no
Nope.
restaurants at that time. What'd you guys do at 4 a.m.? That's crazy.
Well, to be fair, it was just me.
Okay, just
My
you.
husband
Okay,
was not. Yeah, yeah. When I do the Disney races at 2:45, when I'm walking out the door, he's still sleeping. So no, it
smart.
was just me. So I realized that the SpaceX launch was getting ready to go off. So I was like, let's see if I can see it. Oh, I mean, I get to see it from my house,
Uh-huh.
but seeing it from Animal Kingdom Lodge on the balcony, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was a once in a lifetime, for me. Um, and it was clear as day. It was
So
just
I
this
guess
red
those
light going up in the sky, and there's giraffe right there, zebra.
that's crazy. So I
Yeah.
guess those balconies must face east or southeast, to be able to see that, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
the one I was on did. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a big horseshoe shape as you
Yes.
look at the lodge. Super interesting. I've seen some launches from Walt Disney World. I've seen one from the Polynesian Beach, space shuttles. I mean, this is how long ago it was. They haven't flown
Yeah.
shuttles in a decade. But I've seen them from the Magic Kingdom. One time I got a picture like I was standing in the Magic Kingdom and I ran over to Space Mountain. I'm like, I'm gonna be super creative, and I got a shot of the shuttle going up over Space Mountain. I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh
Yeah, but
wow.
it is so cool. People don't realize that when you're at Walt Disney World, that if there is a launch, if you look in the right place, which obviously it's going to be east,
Hmm.
you'll be able to, you can't make out the rocket, anything like that, but you see the streak, and you see the
Right.
comet.
Right. Right.
It's so cool. I mean, because what you're watching is going to be in space in 10 minutes. So it was pretty,
Right. Right.
pretty nerdy. And you got up and saw the sunrise, which I tell everybody when you go on a cruise, you got to get up and see the sunrise. It's good for the
Hmm.
soul. But at a place like Animal Kingdom Lodge, same thing. I mean, you got the
Oh,
savannah.
yeah.
How cool is that? And
Yeah.
you said the
And
animals are super active at that time too.
well, and all of the they place the food in areas where they know that the animals are going to come. So, where our room was a place where they always made sure that there was feed. So we had every animal come by our room.
Man, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Good spot, good spot. And
Yes.
then speaking of a better spot, the animals got their breakfast, but then
Yes.
the anniversary couple went and had their breakfast at Boma, which
Oh,
there's good place for breakfast when you're in the area there. So you guys enjoy Boma, the nice buffet there at the Jumbo House?
yeah, Boma has always been one of our favorites. But staying there, it's kind of like you have to go. The breakfast was delicious. They have the Pog juice. I think they call it something different
Mhm.
there, but it's, the Pog juice. Um, yeah, and the variety, if you're looking for variety, and I like that there's the scrambled eggs and the Mickey waffles, but there's also some African flair to it too. So yeah, no, I highly recommend Boma for all meals, not just
Oh,
breakfast.
yeah. We spent a New Year's Eve there, big group of us, the Foresters, the Gardeners. There was about 40 of us, and I almost had a heart attack when I saw the bill, when I saw the price on New Year's
Right?
Eve for them to pay for 4 of us. I was like, "Oh my gosh." But it was, I mean, it was a great meal, but I could have bought groceries for like a month. But it was, yeah, who cares? It was, we're at Walt Disney World with great friends
Yeah.
and great food. Oh, it was so good. But yeah, that's one thing I do remember about that meal. Boy, on the holidays, it is not cheap. Okay,
Yeah.
so one thing you did interesting after this, though, is you guys went over to Coronado Springs. So give us the story about that. Why'd you guys go to Coronado Springs and not, Magic Kingdom or Epcot or somewhere?
Yeah, so we're always looking for something new. We have been so many times that we try to do at least one thing a day that's brand new that we've never done before. So I noticed, 90% of my social media feed is Disney related. And I noticed that, you can do different things. And so at Coronado, at Barcelona Lounge, I believe it's only on Wednesdays, but I could be wrong. You can make these mosaic tiles. So, you can make Mickey or Minnie. Um, they have butterflies and things like that. But of course, Jeff made a Mickey, I made a Minnie. But they walk you
Yeah.
through the whole process. And when you leave, you actually have this cement trivet, which we have hanging in our kitchen. But it was just something fun. But what happened in the middle of that is really, that's the story that I will always remember from this trip.
And that's what I want to share. First of all, I love that you shared this because I didn't even know they did this, and I'm staying at Coronado twice in the next few months. And I think this is awesome. What I think it's super special for a trip like yours too, because now you have like something you made together,
Right.
Disney related, that you can hang on your wall, and it was your anniversary. I like souvenirs where they're unique and like you
Yeah.
had some. That's why I like Run Disney medals, right? There's a story behind every medal. Like it's a souvenir, but it's something you couldn't buy. You had to do something to get it.
Right.
I like stuff like so that is super, and I never heard of that. Like, and I mean, this is what I do every day, all day. That's why I love this show. Every time we get to talk with a guest, I get to learn, and we all get to learn together, and hopefully we have better trips. That's kind of the goal of this whole thing. So that's great. But this story is why we go. So tell me the story because I mean, oh, I loved reading this, and I want to hear it.
Oh, so it might even bring me to tears talking about it.
Well,
So,
let's try not to have that
no,
happen
no.
because I'm a sympathetic crier too. We can't have that.
Okay. So, we were in Barcelona Lounge, right outside of Barcelona Lounge, and the whole process is about 2 to 3 hours. So we were getting thirsty. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over to the gift shop, get us a couple of waters. I'll be right back. Well, I walk over to and I see Donald Duck, and then I see Pluto, and then I remembered we can hug the characters again.
Right.
So Pluto, my Pluto is my husband's favorite. So I was like, "Oh, sorry, Jeff." So I went right over to him and I was like, "Can I really give you a hug?" And he shook his head yes, and I gave him a hug. And I will tell you that there were some tears, at least in my part. And then of course I went over to Donald, got some great pictures. Then I went into the gift shop because I couldn't forget to get our waters. And I shared it with the cast member. Well, she's crying. So I'm
Yeah.
crying. She's crying. It was just an amazing experience.
That's a good cast member though, right? Because
Oh,
you know that she gets it at that point. You know
yeah.
that's why Walt Disney World exists, is so that we can have a place like this where we can have moments like this.
Yeah.
You just can't have that everywhere. I mean, in isolation, it sounds, weird, but I mean, in the whole context of Walt Disney World and a place where dreams come true, it's why we're there. It's so cool. I
The
love that.
cast members make it for me. I mean, they really
100%.
do. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. So after that, after you have these cool, mosaic little trinkets, you drop them off, and then you guys headed to the Magic Kingdom, and you did use Genie Plus. It says in your notes, and you said you would
Yes.
do it again. So you found it useful, and did you find it user friendly? Because it's changed a little bit since, but what'd you think?
Yeah. Well, so I started at 7. So every 2 hours I set my alarm, and so I would kept stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. So I don't think we got to the Magic Kingdom until like 3 or 4. So when I got there, we had a lot of G Plus lightning lanes. I don't believe that we bought any individuals. I think we just did the Genie Plus. But yes, I would use it again, and I have used it again. Um, e- Going up to $29 a day, I don't know. But yeah, we paid 15 when we did it.
Yeah, 15 is a lot more tolerable. And it
Yeah,
also, if family of 4 versus couple and, single,
absolutely.
it's so many variables there. And it also depends on, is this your one day in the Magic Kingdom or do I have 3 days? Because if you have 3 days, you probably don't need it because you have time. Time's money and there's so many considerations. But, and I like that the option is there. You
Right.
can use it or you can't. You don't have to. So just give me just a sample of some of the attractions that you got in that day, just for so you can, did you get all? I see in your notes you did Big Thunder, Peter Pan, Haunted Mansion. Looks like maybe Pirates Buzz, Under the Sea with Ariel there, People Mover. You wrapped up. It looks like later on that night with the fireworks. But it seems like for not getting there until later in the day, Genie Plus was worth it because you got a lot done because in the middle of that, you had a big dinner too.
Yeah, that and everything that we rode was a lightning lane. We did not do standby for any of it. So, I know Disney says if you get 3, then you're doing good. So yeah, I think we got 6 or 7 in, and again, it was between 4 and 9 o'clock. So I thought it worked out well for us.
So you were there in April. So, that's going to be a lot of folks probably listening today are going to be down this spring. How did you find the crowds? Was it because you were kind of there tail end, I would guess, spring breakish. Probably most people are probably back in school at that point.
Yeah, it was I know Hollywood Studios was very crowded the night we went. Magic Kingdom wasn't too bad. Um I mean, we did not ride Seven Dwarfs. I think it was like an 80-minute wait. We're pass holders, so we really don't wait more than 45. But we get to go, whenever we want to. Um but yeah, I it was pretty crowded. But I had gone a couple of times during COVID, so I kinda got used to the park
I know.
being empty.
They set up. It's like they've been, I've been watching sports over the past, Christmas break and stuff, and they flash back to these, bowl games from like 2 or 3 years ago during COVID. You see, like a couple sitting in the stands with like nobody around them, for 30 seats. And that's how the parks were. I mean, it was,
Right.
you could, well, actually, we were down there, in August of 2020, and I was down there with Scott and his family, and the PhotoPass took a picture of all of us. We had to put our arms out as far as we could, like fingertip to fingertip, because there was nobody in the picture because that's how few people were at Animal Kingdom that day. It
Right,
was
right.
it was because she told us you're never going to get this picture again. So here's what I want you to do: spread out as far as you can. There's not going to be another person in this picture, and I'm going to use the wide angle lens. I was like,
Right, right.
this is insane. Now, you also, that night, you had dinner at Liberty Tree, one of my favorites, Thanksgiving, basically year round. Another good, you guys are eating well. I like this. I need to,
Yeah.
I'm on vacation with y'all sometime. I'm going to come down and hang out the whole time.
Absolutely, you're more than welcome. Yeah, who doesn't want Thanksgiving dinner? Like, and actually, I would give up the Thanksgiving dinner for the ooey gooey cake. I mean,
Yes. That's a
like,
St. Louis staple, by the way.
I did not realize that.
Yes, that's a St. Louis thing. Ooey gooey
Ugh.
butter cake everywhere. We actually just had it for Christmas.
Oh,
It's so good in little squares. Okay, so you also mentioned you guys saw the Enchantment fireworks, but you said Wishes is better. Are you
wishes is better.
excited? Are you excited though that Happily Ever After in some forms coming back soon? Where do you fall on Happily Ever After?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I mean, Enchantment's okay. But yeah, no, I'm excited that it's coming back. I love the projections.
Cool.
So yeah. And
Okay.
any form of fireworks is good for me.
Here's the important question. How do you feel about Harmonious?
Um It's
That's
okay.
such a question. I see. I don't. I love most things, but Harmonious just never hit with me, and I think it's because I loved Illumination so much. I try not to be bitter, but it's just like, dang, I loved Illumination so much, and it just never connected. And apparently, it didn't
Yeah.
connect with a lot of people. They're taking it away.
Yeah, with Harmonious, so you have to be in the perfect spot.
That I
And
think
if
you
you're
gotta also
not,
know the movie. I don't watch the movies, so I don't have a connection to the movies.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Illuminations, you didn't have to watch a movie. It was just like you had to be a citizen of Earth. You
right,
just you had to be a part of
right.
humanity, to kinda get that. So, kinda interesting. Okay, uh, make sure we get all this in here. So the next day you guys wake up, you go to the Mara and grab some breakfast. Well, wait a second. Ho, 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 ho. I see something in your notes I didn't notice earlier. Zebra domes for breakfast? Yeah, I like it. Is this legal? But I like it because that's a dessert. But hey, it's vacation. It's your anniversary. I like the way you roll. That's great.
Well, we also had Mickey waffles. Does that help?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Mickey waffles, side of zebra domes. Yeah, okay, you got me. I might have to do that too. That's
Well,
awesome.
we weren't gonna go to Boma for dinner. And when, I went to get our waters, I noticed they were in the case and I was like, well, okay. And you're on vacation. There's
It's
no calories on vacation.
100% not. Yeah, you heard it right here. I'm an expert. No calories.
Right.
Okay, so you guys you guys head over to Animal Kingdom Park and use Genie Plus again. So just tell some highlights from the day at the park and how Genie Plus worked over here too.
Well, again, Festival of the Lion King had just come back. The monkeys weren't there, but it was okay. It had been years really since we had seen it. So, again, maybe might have shed a couple of tears during that again. Um, I'm just excited that everything is basically back.
Mhm.
A lot of my favorites were like the Streetmosphere and the actors. I'm just so glad that that's all back.
So how do you feel about Flight of Passage? Is that one of your are you like one of the hardcore love this attraction, take it or leave it? Where do you
No.
fall? Because I
It,
always find that interesting.
yeah, it's a must do. Remember I said I don't wait for a ride for more than 45 minutes? I've waited 210 minutes for Flight of Passage with a
Oh,
friend.
man,
So,
that's
yeah,
dedication.
so it was her only shot at getting it done, so I waited with her, but yeah, no, it's a must do for me. And I
Okay.
believe we paid for that. We paid for
Okay,
the
so yeah,
individual lightning lane for that one.
you're in. Yeah, okay, you're
We're
totally
in.
in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. It had so did you have you seen the new Avatar, the sequel here? Is that something? Are you just a fan of the attraction? Or are you a fan of Avatar the movies? Because now that we have the new one out.
Oh no, I love the movie. Yeah, I think we're going tomorrow actually to
Oh,
see it.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so that day, just speaking of dining, just so we can get this in, because people are always asking about dining, Tusker House. I always this is kind of a secret recommendation I give my guests over at the Magic for Less. This is one of those that I think if you're looking for an ADR that's on the easier side to get, that is a great meal. Now you got to be going to Animal Kingdom Park though. That's one of the things you got to think about. But the food is excellent, in my opinion, at Tusker House. The character interaction is great,
Yes.
but it's tucked out of the way, which is an advantage because again, it's an easier ADR to get than like an Akershus or a Crystal Palace or a
Mhm.
Garden Grill. Looking for all these character dining experiences. Tusker House is usually out there. What were your thoughts? Because you guys had lunch there.
Yeah, it was still table service, so the buffet wasn't back yet. But the food was excellent. Again, had that African flair to it. Um, and again, we got to hug the characters. So who doesn't want to hug Mickey? And they do their little dance. And Tusker House is again a must do when we go to Animal Kingdom. I think we go to Tusker House every time we go to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, it is so good. We've gone there many, many times.
Yeah.
Growing up, we've gone there since Mallory was little. And but a lot of people I think you don't think about it because you always think about the big restaurants, the Crystal Palace, Cinderella's Royal Table, Be Our Guest, Garden Grill. It's never on anybody's radar, which I think is a good thing. Like
Yeah.
I like to have those little tucked away kind of ace in the hole restaurants, and that's definitely one. You also had Satuli Canteen counter service there over in Pandora. One of my favorites. Is that kind of a go-to for you guys too as pass holders?
Yeah, we have to get the cheeseburger pods.
Those are so good.
Yeah.
Some people don't. I've heard people like dog on them, like that there's something like you would have. it like in the 70s at home. I always get the bowl. But what I
Yeah.
like to do if my wife's there, we get one of each. Like I'll get a bowl, she'll get the cheeseburger pods, then
Yep.
we'll split. I'll give her half the bowl, she'll give me one pod, and then I'm totally happy. That's
Yep,
perfect.
that's what we did. That's exactly what we did.
That's why she's come on vacation more instead of teaching. Like I know like we got to earn the money so we can go on vacation, but man, it's way better when we vacation together because I get a little bit more. I don't have to pick. I'm like,
Right.
okay, we're just gonna get one of each and split. That's a great thing to do. Okay, so the next day though, you woke up. This is your last day, kind of last sunrise on the balcony over the savannah. Spend some time at Disney Springs. How do you close out that last day out at Disney Springs?
We always close our vacations with Disney Springs, get that last souvenir, and we always bring Blaze Pizza home, so that's like for dinner, we can have Blaze Pizza. So it's one more taste of Disney. Uh, but it was very busy at Disney Springs that day. So I have a Landry's card. We got front of the line of T-Rex. So we had, and T-Rex, the food, I've never had bad food. It was really, really good.
That I've never eaten there. I did a media tour in there before it opened one morning, and I was like, "This place is amazing looking."
Yeah.
'Cause my little nephew is like because he's like that age, like he's like 5. He's like a lunatic for anything dinosaurs, and like has been since he was littler. And I'm just like, I gotta bring him here.
Yeah.
This place is unreal. So that's on my list because there's a few places I haven't eaten. That's one I got to give that a shot. Gideon's cookies. Still, I'm one of the last. Again, I talked about I've had so many cookies over the past like 3 weeks, but I still got to have a Gideon's cookie, even though Scott says the cake is better, which I'll try. Now, the one thing you mentioned in your notes, you guys didn't get to Epcot on this trip, but you didn't do that because you had the AP preview for Guardians coming up very quickly after this trip. Let me just ask you, did you get on Guardians since? Have you been on the attraction?
Yes. And it's wow. It's a wow. It's the best roller coaster I've ever been on.
So is it your favorite attraction at Walt Disney World right now, or would you give it the Flight of Passage, or is it something? What would you say is your favorite attraction overall?
Oh, hands down, Haunted Mansion.
Oh, there you go, classic. I like that.
Always. Yeah.
I
Haunted
respect.
Mansion. Do you see the purple wall behind me? Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, my wall is gold, but that's because of
Yeah.
Mizzou. So
Right. Right.
yeah, I like it though. Yeah. No, one of our agents, I got to send a shout out to Michelle, one of our agents over at the Magic for Less. She covers for my guests sometimes when I'm out of, doing races. She's actually covering for me over marathon weekend. Her bathroom is not only purple, it has the wallpaper and the portraits.
Oh, wow.
Which I had no idea until over Christmas, on Christmas Eve, like you're sitting there, you've eaten too much, all the families there, you're messing around Instagram. Well, she posted, a post on Instagram, Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy Holidays. And it's her standing in like a Haunted Mansion shirt she got, from somebody as a gift in her Haunted Mansion bathroom. I said, whoa, that is awesome. Like I wish I had something like that in my house. So yeah, there are definitely Haunted Mansion fans out there. Michelle and you guys need to get together and talk.
Absolutely. Girl after my own heart.
Absolutely. So okay, look, we got to close this out because we're running a little short on time. It sounds like you had a great trip and we've learned a lot from your experiences, especially the mosaic thing over at Coronado. I'm super curious about that. But as we close out, like any final stories or any final thoughts or tips for folks that are going down, because you have so much experience, you're in Florida, you're an AP holder, you go all the time. So what could you throw out there just as kind of a fun story or something for the good of the cause as we wrap the show?
Yeah, Disney trips are stressful. You have to plan, plan, plan. My advice would be just to stop and experience. Talk to the cast members, stop for the streetmosphere. I just think that just slowing down a little bit, you'll enjoy it way more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Disney almost programs us to rush, 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 right? Genie Plus is like maximizing your day, making sure you get on, as many attractions as possible. But in a way, by saving that time where you can use that time that you bank, use that time that you save to sit on a bench for just 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and kind of just watch people walk down Main Street USA. Because it won't just be the people, a horse-drawn carriage might walk by. The Dapper Dans might pop out of a store, from somewhere.
Mhm.
You can be sitting in Galaxy's Edge, stormtroopers walk by and interact with you. You got to give the opportunity for something special to happen. And even if nothing happens, watch the other guests. You have people from all over the planet
Mhm.
really having the best times of their lives for the most part at Walt Disney World. All you gotta do is watch the other guests. I love being there because typically the weather's better in Florida than it is here in Missouri.
Mhm.
And it's just, everybody's there having a good time. And I love to see that. So, man, I got to get there with you guys sometime. That'd be so much fun. So, what's on your horizon? Like, when's your next trip? And, what do you have on the books?
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple of days Festival of the Arts. That's our favorite time of the year at Epcot. And then our 35th anniversary is in April. So as you know,
Mhm.
we're staying at the Contemporary. So
Nice.
yeah.
Scotty G loved that place. He still is talking about it from Thanksgiving. He still can't stop. He's
Yeah,
just
when
crazy.
they we switched over to the Incredibles theme, this is something I have to see.
There you go. Yeah, Frozone's one of my favorites. I need my
Yes,
super
yeah,
suit. There you go. So
yeah.
perfect. Well, Carol, hey, I know it's a little bit late, but happy new year. And thanks again for coming on the show, for your support for so long, your friendship. And here's to a happy 2023. And congratulations on 35 years here in just a few months. I hope you I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Mike. Happy New Year and good luck with your race,
Thanks. I will
which I
need
know
it.
has already just happened, but you know
Yeah,
what I
well,
mean.
I'll still need good luck just to make my way back home after, after the race. Walking back just to the airplane could be a challenge, but we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. So yeah, I appreciate that very much. All right, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Swing by the website, themagicforless.com. We'll help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. Just check them out over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. When you click on that link, it helps us with everything we do throughout the entire year here on the show. It might not seem like much to you, but it really does support everything we do. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest podcast. You make all these shows possible with your monthly support. And if you'd like to support us here in 2023, we'd sure love to have you. And you'll get that bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Give me a follow on social media. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and Twitter. Lots of stuff there from Marathon Weekend this past weekend. And of course, I'll be posting some new stuff this week that I didn't get out over the race weekend. We are planning on having a live call-in show this Sunday night with Scotty G. We haven't had one for a few weeks, but it's time to get those phone lines back open so we can talk to you. So join us this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on Facebook and YouTube, and give us a call. It's the BOGP open line. All right, time to get out of here and let you get on with your Monday. And of course, we'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. But for Carol down in Florida, I'm Mike here in Missouri, wishing you a great Monday. Whatever you do, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was fun. That was
Thanks,
good.
Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and you have a good night. And thanks again for taking the time, though. That was a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you take care and happy new year and I'll be thinking of you. I'm doing the virtual 5K. So,
Smart. You can do
well,
it like if the weather, you don't have to get up so early. And if the weather's bad, I'll just do that tomorrow.
yeah, I
I'm already worried
actually
about the weather.
I belong to a gym, so I printed out the little mile 1, mile 2 that they sent me. So I'm just going to put it on my treadmill. So every mile I'll just flip it.
That's what I need to do because I know people dog on treadmills. I love my treadmill because one, it's flat as a pancake. I never have to go up or
Absolutely.
down a hill, and I can watch TV.
That's right. Yep.
And
Yep.
listen to podcasts. No dogs are chasing me because I run so early in the morning. It's dark, like I've slipped on ice, because like you
Oh,
can't see anything at 5:30 in the morning. It's still pitch black. Like I mean, there's been times where deer have popped out because like there's woods right next to our path. I mean, like I don't need all that anymore. I've had like 7 heart attacks out there because like a squirrel or a raccoon or a deer. Like I'm just over it. Get even
yeah.
like I don't have to put on all the layers. I just throw out, sleep in short t-shirts and boom, just go downstairs and get it done. Not that I like it, but it's a means to an end. So
There you go.
whatever. Well, hey, happy new year. Have a good night. And this will be out on the 9th. I'm going to edit it right now.
All right, Mike. I
All
appreciate
right.
it. Take care. Okay.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye.